You didn't see it too frequently because the money was never really in a good position for TSM.
Yeah.
So we will have TSM starting on the defense, and it's IMT on the attack. And we do get that Viper after all, the one we expected to see.
And it's looking for Immortals to try to set up here towards this B side. Bear is already up. First point of contact will be Sabrosa. Could potentially put a wall up and fall back, especially now that he gets pinged. He's not even going to wall. Toxic screen to come up. Very aggressive from TSM towards this B side.
And this is going to be the wall that comes in through as well. It was actually great damage coming out along with the Nano Swarm. So that pushes Chemicals back, forces out the self-heal pretty quickly. A heal comes in on the other side for Hazed. But you can see the after effects, leaving both teams a little bit scratched and scuffed. Spike's been planted and it's retake time, but everyone's stuck in similar positions. Hurdled up behind Yellow and moving back over towards Long. Now, the wall has been broken and a follow-up wall comes through. They do break the wall on the other side, so the opportunity to defuse on that is going to disappear. And that results in a fast play and push in. There's the snake bite kill, something we don't see all that often. And Cutler, who's left alone in the 1-on-5. A flawless round victory. A lot of damage dealt to both teams on the initial push, but IMT survives with all 5 to win the round.
Yeah, so now you got to be careful for Rossi with these lineups that he has with the snake bites. He was playing it all the way towards that back of the B site, or sorry, of Yellow. But at the same time, I like how they're actually countering Immortals on that retake versus TSM, rather, because when that Owl drone came out from Joan towards that back site, well, we had shot up that threw an instant leer towards the top of the dark cover just to make sure that the Owl drone doesn't get enough information, but somehow nobody shot it. It still came through. They had information for that, but just no kills. And now for this round, it's going to be a Marshall no armor trying to go for an early tag with no success, and it's going to be Immortals already taking control of pipes and moving really closer and closer, where Wardell is in a do-or-die spot and falls back himself.
Shot out the first one in, but his teammate JC Stanny taken out by Pistol. Now we've seen Wardell do great things with the Marshall in these rounds. Even though that last map didn't go great for them, Marshall on the second round for Wardell has been at least a little solid. There's again the snake bite going down to try to delay the push. Wardell with the no-scope on the Marshall. Straight to the dome of Shot Up. The plant still hasn't been guaranteed, but it is a 1-on-2 with a Marshall no less. He's got 2 shots, 1 for each of them. Can he make this happen? Wardell gonna peek from upper. Oh, there's the no-scope follow-up, but again, 2 bullets is all he had. And the reload tries to come through, and Rossi's having none of it. A solid round, all things considered, for TSM. Great economic damage, but the win will go the way of Immortals. But look at what it does to their cash. You've got Shot Up, who's forced to go down to like a pistol or accept a buy from somebody else. Light armor for 2 players. It's going to impact their utility as well.
Still like the fact that Wardell actually used a Marshall in that previous round, because he builds up kills with that. That means he's got Blade Storm into this round. So he's going to go with the Marshall again with small shields. The rest of them going small shields with Phantom. So a typical round right now for the defenders, as Sabrosa spots a first one on green, and tries to get the first kill, but he gets punished himself. So already an early player down, and Hayes is forced to fall back inside the site.
Lear comes out. Help guarantee a sight, and that wall is going to come through as well. We're going to see a lot of that wall being utilized. Oh my god. Wardell tries to go really high with the ult. Shot Up just picks him off like he's skeet shooting at this point. Cutler is back in a similar territory, and I think they just called for a save. They're all retreating, all 3 players backing off. They are not committing to this one.
Yeah. I think at this point, Wardell, if I'm not mistaken, didn't pull out his Blade Storm, so they're still going to have it into the next round.
No, he did.
He did? Okay.
He did. Yeah, he went. He was up, like, updraft from back towards Snowman, very high, with the ult out, and Shot Up just booped him.
Okay, so that's going to make things a little bit difficult, but at least with 3 rifles, that could still help in terms of, like, the players, where the positions where they're currently playing. At least they can maybe try to anchor down towards the A side with a bit. Hayes having his rifle on a B side is definitely going to help too with what Sabrosa needed, because they're getting a lot of pressure from JC Stani on that B side early into the round. So my apologies for missing out on that Blade Storm that was used there by Wardell. But with that, it's going to be a glass cannon and come out, and there's actually no economy for Sabrosa, so he's going to have to go with the Spectre. So this is going to be a situation of a do or die before their economy just shambles down, and Immortals might continue their spree here on the attacker side. And this is night and day so far of the Immortals of how they usually play on this Icebox map. The control, the fast pace on the attacker side is definitely paying off.
Got Hayes in an advanced position, and this just feels like a continuation of the last map with the way some of these early round duels have gone. Shot Up is feeling it right now, and he's just going to keep on charging in. Now Sabrosa is in a great position. Never mind. You've got a flank play coming through, and there was no support from mid. And that's what allows JC Stani to do what JC Stani is doing right now. Drone still can't look back, thinking that there's support coming through from the Jet in mid, but it's not there in time. Finally, Wardell shows up, but it's too little too late. Now is stuck in the ice. Nice tailwind to get away at least. How many kills can Wardell get on the retreat? Snakebite lands right on top of him, and down to 20 HP as the orb comes through as well. Another round for IMT. Sure, they lose 2 players, but they're going to steal the AWP away, give it back to JC Stani, and their money is going to start ballooning quick.
This is a huge pickup for the operator now. Like you said, it's hard for TSM to get the money right. Now they can leverage this operator for how they're aggressing towards this B side. It's because they don't also have any type of like early smokes being thrown. So this is an opportunity for JC Stani if he wants to peek out towards long B, could face off against Sabrosa. If he wants to go on top of Tube, he could play against Hayes in his current round. Or if he wants to try to op battle towards the A side eventually against Wardell, that could be another one that's going to happen. And it seems to be a Marshall versus operator potentially here towards this A site.
Woo! Oh, all right. Got to pull the trigger. Felt like JC Stani had the beat on him. He just didn't shoot. So, not sure what the case was there, but that will be a player disadvantage. Chemicals still pretty far away from the ult, so no res coming in this time around. The team going to be working with just 4 players. But they do have Reyna's ult, so Empress is available. Shot Up could try to pop that one to give him that extra edge. Currently, Shot Up is carrying the spike, and that is another nice pickoff for TSM to try to regain some control here in this second map, as Cutler goes aggro with a Sheriff and just rips Gangsta's head off of his shoulders.
And they barely got any damage done onto TSM with that, right? So they're in a great spot right now with the numbers advantage. But the thing is, you see that they killed Noise for Immortals. They're trying to walk back for control towards the A side. And because of that early push towards the A side for TSM, TSM thinks the hit's going to happen towards B. So they have still a numbers advantage for Immortals moving into the site when they have nothing left here for TSM, unless this hits. Well, Cutler getting another kill so far. We're looking for the plant. There's no time left. Ashes are pushing forward the counter wall to come up, and they won't get a plant. A thrifty round coming in for TSM just from a crucial kill by taking down the spike carrier, by forcing the clock down with keeping Immortals guessing of where they wanted to rotate back and forth. And after killing the Noise and trying to get back into the A site, well, we saw it. It just got a little bit more difficult because of that numbers advantage, because of how late that push was going, and it just pays off in the end. Got to thank Wardell for that Marshall to start things off on that previous round, and looks like he's about to keep it into this round as well.
Thank God for replay. I missed all of that. My internet cut out as soon as I handed it to you.
Good timing. Nobody noticed it.
It came back right after, but it was bizarre, to say the least. Now, Sabrosa's going to try and get this. Oh my gosh, he almost got caught. The wall did cover enough. And Rossi's on the other side like, man, that hurt. 49 HP for Rossi, who's going to get the heal back to full from Chemicals. IMT wants to get over towards this A site. There's support coming in pretty quickly. This recon or shock dart could be right on the money. And it does drop drone down just a little bit as they start to work their way up. Drone's in position, but no, he was not prepared for that. Thought he had backup from Cutler. Cutler was playing more of an off angle. The landing doesn't come too cleanly for shot up, but there's the peek coming out, back and forth volley. And it is favoring TSM, at least for the time being. Gangsta on the other side of that wall as it breaks, able to find one more. Now, Sabrosa does have the ult available, so the res will come through. Ooh. Nice shot from Wardell, and they have the 3-on-1 now. Chemicals, Insight, has to go big. Only has the heal, ult's been popped, can't even find the first kill. TSM, huge round from them to keep things moving in the positive direction after winning that first one by denying the plant, and now a follow-up with a 3-versus-1 retake.
And you're seeing that, right? Even despite a 3-versus-1, not knowing where Chemicals was at, they're like, screw it. Let's just go with that lockdown down towards screens. We're going to burn that over, and we're just going to try to win the round, secure the round at that point, too. And it shows how much respect they're giving to Immortals from since that first map. We talked about the respect that they've given to Immortals when they were on even Ecos. They were getting popped by shares from time to time, but even now, going into Icebox, they're still trying to find their footing. They got 2 rounds so far out of 6. They want to try to build it up a little bit more for them here on the defender side, but we finally have a real operator battle. It's not a Marshall versus Op anymore. It's really JC Stani versus Wardell, both of them with the knives, but still a lot more ultimates in hand for Immortals to try to take this A side to start.
Wardell. This is what you want to see from Wardell, that aggressive confidence. Now, the updraft was faked out. I'm not sure if it was faked out or just missed initially. But that's the kill coming through to kick things off for TSM. A res does come out, so negates the early damage.
Well,
the shot goes through the wall and connects to JC Stani, who gets knocked down to 9 HP, but there is a heal coming out from Chemicals. So Chemicals' utility really being stretched here in the early round with the res and the heal coming out. But they find one on the backside, and that opens up an avenue towards the B site.
It was such a good start. The first kill, forcing a res, and then just like that, it goes down to just trying to push to pinch into the A side. The ult comes out, though, for the defenders towards B. Wardell's posted up with the op, and he's looking for a big kill.
Oh, he misses. Oh, that's so awkward. I think he meant to go the other direction. And he just flies out into the site, and you can see it practically on his face when that happens. The spike barely goes down as the wall gets chipped away at the last possible second. So they have the ability to try and go in for the defuse. And they've already stuck it. They're not really being able to stop this one at all. Yeah, it's just not much that can be done here. Team Ace? I'm not sure.
They got
how
the
that
defuse.
Yeah.
No matter what, they got the defuse.
But we got a Team Ace call out, and there's still players alive, like multiple players.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But I didn't really pay attention to what was happening towards the end. I still was not necessarily face palming, but like trying. I had that meme going through.
It's like 3-on-2.
I know. We'll just skip it away. We'll skip it away. But just think about how that went, and you're like, okay, well, that meme of that's when he knew and then up. It was like that green screen where Wardell's trying to dash away. But thankfully, on that retake, though, having that cloud, the dark cover being thrown by Cutler and just sticking onto the spike, knowing that it's pretty much desperate meshes right now for TSM. They're scrapping right now for these rounds. And then at least it's paying off. A 4-3 scoreline right now, a Hunter's Fury from Drone, and a kill from Hayes. They're slowly clawing back.
That last round, definitely disappointing for Immortals. After they really turned the early round in the mid-game, or in the mid-round, excuse me. They lost a player, rezzed, healed, found the flank kill. Things should have turned for the better for them, but it just didn't go that way in the tail end. Now they do have tube control, or at least some amount of tube control. And as they spot the leaping target inside kitchen, they realize it's better to move in a different direction. What they're not prepared for is this wall waiting for them on the other side. So again, there's a lot of delay power here. Sabros is in a great position too. It's all going to come down to timing which angles he's going to watch. Not the right one. He was pivoting between both the up top and down low, and in that time just gets caught looking the wrong way. Great shot coming out from JC Stani. Cutler has to move positions. He was up on top of the boxes. The spike will be planted here in just a moment. Again, the knives come out. This time Wardell won't be bested. Oh no, the ult gets canceled, and so does the spike! The round falls apart off of Drone's massive 3K from inside of Tube. He was waiting on the other side of the wall, and they didn't anticipate that.
That was some flick and a half for sure for those kills, and it did not anticipate that because of that kill coming in from Wardell. Everybody is focusing on that wall coming out. They're focusing on the plant. They're like, okay, we have a numbers disadvantage. Let's just try to bring the Viper's Pit out. And perfect timing for Drone to get that 2K, and even tallying it up on that triple with that last kill was very well done. You still have to give it for the game sense of JC Stani and the rest there of the Immortals to get that opening kill onto Sabrosa. Yes, he was in a great spot. I love the wall also that forces a player to go for like a 4-block spray to open up the wall right there. That type of wall, kind of like a tube-way. You see the first one, the second one, you're wasting a lot of bullets, you're giving your positions away, but JC Stani just went for the peak and quick scope to get the kill onto Sabrosa too. So very well done at least to start, but TSM on that hold, even preventing the plan was huge right now, and they tie up the game 4-4.
Again, we see that wall on long. This time, though, Sabrosa is playing much further back, where we've seen Sabrosa play pretty aggressive that position in the past. A much more careful approach from IMT than we saw from them in the first few rounds, where they were flying out on sites, largely off the back of ShotUp's entry power. But now we're at a tie score. This is like the flip of the last map, whereas TSM, who got off to a 5-0, and then IMT woke up and just charged through. Now, JC Stani catches Cutler looking the wrong direction. A weird setup on the site that results in site control going the direction of IMT. The spike will be planted. This shot from Wardell gives them that opener. He's down low on HP, sitting at 34. Sabrosa is alive, but in a terrible spot to give him the heal. So it's going to come down to this battle over on long. Sabrosa has to self-heal in that instance. So it will be Wardell forced to work with less HP, trying to make their way out onto the site. You've got Hazed already down on the ground, backside site, looking for information, trying to spot players out. There's one waiting right around the corner. Barrel, though, speaking out, and it doesn't seem to make a difference. Dismiss coming in from ShotUp. Alir to follow up as well. Wardell is now the last player standing, and he's kind of stuck on site, realizes it, tries to get out of there, goes for the updraft and the dash. They're going to push and take out the op, and it will not be brought into the next round. So IMT get themselves back on the scoreboard yet again. After winning the first 4, they lost 4 in a row, but they control the lead for the time being.
Yeah, and that's where you're starting to see, okay, well, it's not working out at least with the aggressive pushes that they're doing for Immortals, so they're starting to throw a little bit more of a default and also trying to sell fakes, which is why you see there Rossi throwing up that wall towards that side on B, and just in case if he wants, he can put that wall up, keep some defenders towards that B side. They work towards A, and if it happens that they cannot win the fights towards A or they're trying to get a kill, they can always reset and run back towards B and fully execute there. So we talked about how they were good at rotating TSM on that ascent side before. This is an opportunity for them to do it right now. Here's where it changes though for Sabrosa. He puts a wall very deeply towards that yellow side that might allow for Immortals to cross over to yellow if they wanted to without being opposed, but they just break the wall instead for the attack. They kill the noise and they move towards the A site where there's only one player playing there.
Falling back off long. The drone kind of scaring them away. Position being gathered up by TSM as well off the back of that drone play. We'll see if JC Stani is going to continue to hold this or not. They've got 2 players pushing through from B, but it looks like they're pretty much dedicated to the site. ShotUp's going ahead across the site on the zip line, and the spike will be planted momentarily. Or not.
Yeah, he wanted to
he ended up on the other side of the wall. Yeah. I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. So he accidentally fell on the other side of the wall, has to run all the way around, very awkwardly, mind you.
Huge.
Look at Hayes, though. This is what we were talking about. They weren't prepared for the flanks, so Hayes is able to come through. They got 1 kill on one of the flankers. They didn't anticipate the second.
Exactly.
So Hayes is in a huge position that takes down 2 players and really flattens out the hold, and now they're just stuck in such an awkward spot. Hayes has found 3 kills on the round. It's all up to ShotUp. The self-heal is in, but good luck. Drone holding the corner, and we're back to a tie score.
I was trying to figure out too why we were throwing that smoke earlier on for Cutler there, right by the generator, out in the open of the site, and it's just to make sure that it keeps kind of like Immortals guessing of, is there somebody still behind that generator wall? Is there somebody playing it behind the truck? And with that, just wasting that time and putting a huge question mark of where the defenders could be on at least a hold. It allows for Sabrosa and for Hayes to actually go for a flank in the back of the site because they have too many resources thinking about the front. So very well done for TSM to run that down and to actually throw that half fake pretty much for TSM onto Immortals to allow those flanks to happen. This round, Op is out. Wardell looking towards the entrance of the A side. There is that jump. Here comes the Knives. He's staying on top while we do have Drone pushing forward. So at first the fall, spraying across, doesn't work. And the Knives trying to capitalize with JC Stani. He does get walled down to 5 HP, now healed up at the same time. We're even up on a 4-4.
He's also got the rifle open to him, excuse me. They'll go ahead and grab the orb on long. Chemicals will get the plant here, and then they can get the res. So after Chemicals gets this up, he'll go back and he'll res shot up, or potentially even Rossi. But there is that opportunity, and there's the res coming through. That's huge. That could turn the round a little bit, but the spike's being stuck here as there's a wall on the other side. And now they're blind. They can't see anything, detained by the Killjoy ult. Everything thrown at the site, and TSM finally takes control of the scoreboard and takes the lead at the tail end of the first half. Round 11 is the first time they have that lead in their possession, and they've put Immortals in an awkward spot for this final round too. They're by, sure there's going to be rifles in play, but it's going to be light armor and it's not going to be pretty.
And that was actually pretty huge for Sabrosa because every single round, 10 rounds in a row, Sabrosa had to place a wall somewhere towards B main, towards a fallback or whatnot. You see him putting it up right now in case he's going to get pressured again. But that's how it allows for, or sorry, slow orb. But that's where it allows for him to actually just get that position and make sure that he's able to fall back into the A site because he wasn't getting pressured earlier on towards that B site. So that wall was crucial. The paranoia on top of that to blind everybody on top of the lockdown. And now this round though, Drone's the ones that's trying to push forward, trying to catch them off guard. Now you have Sabrosa that gets pinged. But Cutler's up there on yellow as well. Huge trades, but still a 2-on-2.
Welcome to my world.
There's the ult. This time it actually goes off. Last time Rossi popped the ult, and he was killed pretty much instantaneously. Now, interestingly enough, despite the fact that the ult was down, Rossi still goes to a more default position, and that is problematic. Cancel ult coming out from Gangsta, very much wise, given that he was low on HP. But it's TSM who closes out the half, 7-5. You know, I'm looking at that ult. Rossi pops the ult and then plants not on default, but in a position similar enough that spam can come through towards default and hit him. And you can see just little bits of damage coming through as the spray came through the box. As the spike was secured, he fell towards the tail end.
So it's getting closer and closer here. The second half, we want to see if TSM could continue that momentum. Yeah, that was a huge no-scope there. And you know what? Still pretty accurate, though, going with no-scope with the Marshall. Still very fast, still very quick. You had some key plays right now, right here from Joan, for example. But the pushes that they had towards the A side for TSM on the defense was really good, too. It was a good way for them to come back. But we still have that question mark. How is TSM going to be looking on the attack now? How do you play the defense too for Immortals now that you have a Viper playing on defense too, where the Viper's pit can take so much map control? And even look at their position right now on this minimap. The Poison Cloud that's placed towards the green side, he's anchored on his own, and you have now TSM working towards A, and that wall that we talked about before, the crossover towards the A site. You're going to have players walking in with so much decay if they want to rush into the A site.
Into the A site they go. Gordell with the frenzy. Nice little two-piece before being taken care of by Chemicals. Wall is up, and the spike is down, and oh, Chemicals had a great idea, but it's actually his teammate who ends up winning the first battle post-plant. It's Rossi. Drone is trying to eyeball this wall, knowing that they might try to jump over it or take the rope up to go over it. You can see them trying and not quite committing just yet. Finally, the first one comes through. There's Gangsta on the other side. Rossi from distance with a frenzy, and it comes down to actually a 1-on-2. Make it a 1-on-1. Gangsta takes it to halfway. Both players are low, mind you. Hazed on 37, Gangsta on 22. Yeah. The turret is down. He's just baiting this one so perfectly, and he didn't get it to half after
Exactly.
all. I thought he did. It was so close. Well played by Hayes in the 1v1.
Because he heard that drop from Hayes towards that belt. He's like, I'm just going to gamble it just to see if I can get the kill. There's definitely some comms going on for Immortals, especially now they're on land saying, I hit him for this much. I hit him for this much. He's only got 34 HP, or at least one shot, as we like to call it when we're actually in the heat of the moment. So he just tried to gamble it out, and Daze just did a good job just to dance back and forth for that kill. So very well done, at least on the execution for TSM. That wall that came up, Wardell already dashed across, and by having that recon dart from drone in the back of the site allowed that spacing to happen so that Wardell could get towards that back of the site and a double kill with the frenzy, and he did his job. This round could push towards mid.
I love this, actually. They stack up towards mid, and they just want to do some damage. Hayes is looking for the ace, and he's going to get it. The first ace on the day here for the mainstream. Sure, it's an anti-eco, but still, that was actually a
Could have been
good
dangerous.
eco. Like, all things considered, IMT actually did a lot of damage.
Exactly.
A lot of kills going back and forth, and Hayes only had an SMG, so there was certainly potential there. But TSM in the controlling position currently 9-5 over Immortals, and Hayes now has the ult as well. So they've got lockdown available and at their disposal off the back of that ace. So as much as we might look at those kills and be like, oh, they're eco kills, who cares? Like, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
They now have a massive ult that can't be countered from the other side because they don't have anything to really stop it or prevent it right now.
It definitely wasn't a big deal or anything. I think it was a big deal just because they had so many players on that mid side and actually connecting shots, right? So it was definitely a doable situation for Immortals. And even speaking about them, they tried to go for an early battle again at JC Stani versus Wardell, but it's going to be JC Stani aiming down the sight with that Vandal to get that pick, which is good enough here. I mean, Wardell, I'm pretty sure it was still on that Marshall, if I'm not mistaken, if he picked one on that second round. But let's see what happens. An ult because Hayes got the ult, but then he gets picked off right away. The lockdown's still going to go off, and they're going to be able to take map control, but it's still a 5-on-3.
Shot up.
No
Getting
way.
great position. The dismiss to get away as well. And there's the final kill coming in for Shot Up. That's what you want to see for this team, for Immortals to really wake up. Shot Up, picking up a big 4K in the round, and now is in position with the ult. So he's got his own ult at his disposal. Shot is just sitting top rope, finding kill after kill. The recon dart gives away positions, and then goes for the dismiss. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, exactly.
Dismiss to dodge the ult. Yet again, that's the second time we've seen him do that this series. He did that on the first map as well, I think. I can't recall. We watched it live, and I was even asking myself after the fact if it happened. Hayes went for an ult in mid, and I think he dismissed as the ult came through to dodge it, but regardless,
At least it's confirmed
strong
here.
play. Yeah, exactly. We saw it happen.
But now look at this round. We actually have a position where, unfortunately, because of that second round, right? Like I said, it was a big deal because it did a lot of damage with the pistols for Immortals onto TSM. So this round, they're going to be all on pistols, and they're just relying on Wardell. Wardell actually went for the force buy with the armor and the operator, and he does connect onto JC Stani. So the jet battle continues to go back and forth, but we still have yet to come into the site because of this poison cloud just to slow things down.
Poison's off.
TSM trying to gain control of this B site. Peek from Rossi that costs him his life. The wall's been broken, but the spike will likely be planted here in a moment, as there's still a safe spot there for Drone to spot. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. They dropped the spike, and it's in awkward territory now. They have to scoop it up, but they don't have anything to kind of give them safety. So Sabros is going to go for the plant. That's a big shot coming out from Wardell to help secure things. Again, the plant is touched, but it's Shot Up coming through with the ult. They have to watch out for the Empress. He comes into position, and this is just Shot Up doing Shot Up things. The heal is now out. He's back to full HP. He has to be careful. There's two targets towards long. Big fat paranoia coming through, but it doesn't seem to slow him down whatsoever. The recon dart's going to give away the position. That is a massive retake coming in from Immortals.
Yeah, the paranoia was huge to hit Gangsta, but off just a little bit off was shot up to be able to get that position and a crosshair placement for the last 2 kills with help from Gangsta, of course, by putting that recon dart down. I mean, it was such a great effort for TSM with all of these openers that Wardell did. He got 3 kills, so they really counted and trusted Wardell with the entries, and look how good he's been. But after that, just because the kills that he's gotten for Wardell were just a little bit too far for TSM to pick up the rifles and to upgrade, because the last 2 players for the Immortals were still playing towards orange. So when Hayes got picked off, he's like, well, they're both there towards orange. We can't rush forward to pick up the guns. Let's count on Wardell again. But Wardell, unfortunately, at yellow that gets picked off by the Empress. That doesn't allow the last 2 players to be in a great position on a pulse plan, unfortunately. So you hurt the economy. It was still expensive for a round, and because of that, you still have enough to go for the operator buy because you had the 3 kills and a spike plant and the bonus. TSM still has a chance to maintain this lead.
Shot comes out from Wardell. We've been seeing that in this second map more specifically. The first map was a little bit more problematic for him. JC Stanny has popped the ult in response, but Wardell is holding the line, preventing that ult from being a bigger problem than it could have potentially been. There's the ult coming out from Gangsta. Shots coming out over the top. He tries to cancel to dodge it, but he can't in time, and Wardell has now found 3 on the round, systematically picking them apart single-handedly. He's now brought it down to 2. It's Chemicals and Rossi. Now Rossi's been dropped by drone, and the last player remaining is Chemicals, and with Chemicals holding it off, trying to get away, not gonna happen. That'll be 10 rounds, double digits for TSM. Some impressive off work coming out from Wardell.
Yeah, that's 6 kills so far within 2 rounds for Wardell. Even if he popped the knives, he would have been like 2 rounds ago. He's already got the ult again if he wanted to. So very well done. Especially that kill was huge to prevent his teammate from getting taken down by JC Stunny's knives by trying to plant on the top of the tower. And that was Sabrosa. Half of his body was out there and pretty much a sit and duck. And it's in these situations where Wardell is starting to warm up, being ready, starting to land his shots, this is where TSM starts to get very scary when they have that confidence moving forward. So no op being safe. You're trying to determine if you're going to go for it right now as we have this, I would say this tactical pause because of the amount of rounds that were lost so far for Immortals on the defense. They're probably trying to guess with JC Stani. Are we going to go with an operator small shields? What are we going to get for Chemicals because he doesn't have enough money to go for a rifle with armor? So you're going to have to try to reassess. Is it going to be a stack right now for Immortals? But overall here, Buck, you're really happy as a TSM fan to see if this is going to go to a 3rd map, because it's looking very good for a 3rd map so far with how TSM has looking a little bit more confident on these takes, on these hits, and not being afraid of these toxic screens coming up on the A side. So now, with this tactical pause for Immortals, just trying to figure things out. I mean, they have potentially some battles that they want to try to fight for the orb, but because they're so low on the economy for Immortals, I don't think they want to try to battle that way. They want to try to probably stay a little bit more further back and try to fight back versus TSM at this point, where it has worked for Immortals when they were actually playing more passively towards the Ascent side, but not having a Killjoy to combine with these toxic screens or whatnot from Rossi. This is where it gets dangerous here for Immortals as well, where TSM can actually push forward again, not being afraid because the decay doesn't last as long as it used to with the new patch, and TSM is starting to see that as a window of opportunity.
Also, Chemicals is not really hitting that same level of performance we saw in that first series.
Yeah, but he's
Chemicals looked really good as Killjoy. I mean, that's a classic example, though.
Yeah.
Don't say that just because someone's bottom fragging, they should be cut. You know?
Yeah, but the amount of assists that he's gotten from the first half to now has been key for Immortals, at least, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the point is, like, you know, Chemicals was top performer for IMT Map 1 and now is struggling here in Map 2, but that's just sometimes the way it goes. Someone has to bottom frag. I think that often, you know, the community looks at a player who's bottom frag and goes, oh, this player should retire, cut this player, what are they even doing here? There's obviously more at stake than just kills. I'm sure I'll get flamed for that, but whatever. It's another day in Twitch paradise, right? Yeah. Looking at the score right now, even though TSM is in control, This is a big round for IMT. If they find the win here, they can come up 8-10. They're right within closing distance of TSM. They'll have a little bit of control of the economy. That's the biggest piece. And they do have the op in play in JC Stanley's hands. Op in the hands of Wardell. No surprise on the other side. We did start talking about the matchup between the two and whether or not JC Stanley would be able to get the best of Wardell. It does feel like, in general, Wardell has had that. They try to stop the plant there as Rossi throws down the snake bite, but it doesn't get there in time, and that allows TSM to get the plant off. Rossi is low on HP as the leaping target he was aiming for does escape, and now it's post-plant time for TSM. A 5-on-5, but damage has been dealt to several players, and they have to pick and choose which one's going to get the heal, and it won't be JC Stanley this time around. He's sitting on 45 HP, and the kills are starting to pile up for TSM. Again, there's the peak from Wardell, swinging out wide, and this decision is being made. It's time to escape,
They can't.
but you can't even get away. You've got players already on the flank holding it down, preventing that from even being possible. Good luck, Gangsta. He's going to try and hold on to his rifle as long as he can. He's got the best HP possible. But he'll survive, and he might even be able to go back and grab the off.
He's going to leave it behind, and it's going to be TSM looking pretty good there on the attack. Even it got dangerous when Drone was actually going for a Hunter's Fury on the offense instead of actually trying to keep it for a pulse plant. But you see, again, who was on that scoreboard off camera for these kills? Wardell with the operator. Cutler as well. Cutler has been one of those guys where we said, okay, well, he didn't have too much of a good game on that first map, but playing as an Omen right now in the second one, getting these crucial kills, getting the right smokes right now for TSM has been helping too. Although, I do have to give it so far for just how TSM's been playing on the attack. It's very dangerous right now for Immortals, especially in a situation now. They only had that Phantom that they saved from the previous round and pistols into this round. And let's see if they could actually hold it out. They're trying to look for some information towards mid-side, but that smoke prevents Rossi from moving forward. And now everything's on a stalemate. You're going to have to lurk from Hayes towards his B-side. I actually quite like this. Now you could actually see where a stack is going to be happening because they do expect a stack somewhere, and they could also find out where Gangsta's playing that rifle. And if it's going to be towards a site that is not going to have Gangsta, you might see a full rotate back towards B.
There's the ult being called from Cutler. That'll get them some information on the site.
Yep.
There's a lot of information to be had. A lot of players over on the A site currently. There's only one playing over towards the B site. And again, Wardell has JC Stanley's number. And that's happened so many times throughout this series. Whether he's had an op or a rifle, it seems like he's just got that one dialed in. Even though JC Stanley's playing all right. He's not playing poorly. It's just when it comes to the one-on-one, it seems to go that direction pretty frequently. The last remaining player is Gangsta, the only player who came into this round with anything.
Yep.
And he's 1 HP away from where he was at the end of the last round. Sabrosa goes up the rope, and it'll be a kill coming in for the Sage. 12-7. TSM looking to close things out in map number 2, force us to a third map. And if we are to go there, the third map in the series will be Bind, a map that we said coming into this one kind of favors IMT a little bit just based on what we've seen, but I don't know, TSM coming in off of a hot win might change things.
Oh, definitely. We'll see what happens. The third map potentially, but there's still a chance to come back into this one. The knives have been popped a few rounds ago, but at least they had that Viper's Pit. We talked about that quite often, and we haven't had a chance to see it on the defender side yet. So now that Rossi has it, we'll see what happens. Wardell trying to dash on top. JC Stanley gets spotted by the green, and he's forced to fall back. He's staying on there, actually. Huge.
That's a big first kill. Now, they do have res, so it does kind of negate the early damage. That's something they've been struggling at gaining. They've been having a hard time getting those early kills under Wardell. Wardell's been on the early round rampage usually, finding multiple openers. This will be a great nano swarm. That'll push the player out of position. Rossi takes a little bit of damage, down to 77 HP. Armor's been stripped down to 4 as well. Off that early play, TSM decides to change directions, going instead back towards the A site, where they'll have to contend with Shot Up, who's got quick support coming in from Gangsta. That's the pull ult. They'll try to bait them in with this ult. So they've got the turret set up as well, even though there is a smoke on top of it. Hayes is really just here to try to glue them into position, and he's done a pretty good job. The rest of the team's going to be heading over towards A. There's still one player here. It's Shot Up. Shot Up has to go huge from this position. First kill is going to be Shot Up's to take. Wants to go for the dismiss. It's a logical play. They don't have the wall now for the spike, so that is actually huge, and it's been cut down to now Cutler and Wardell in a 2-on-5 with 10 seconds left. That early kill, you're starting to see that and its effect on the game. They had to go back and res Wardell. It slows things down. The attempt towards B ends up shifting back towards A, and then when they lose the wall, everything falls apart.
Oh no, even the op is lost. But again, you've won enough rounds so far for the defenders. I mean, Wardell still had 9K, or sorry, attackers. You still have 9K out of that one. And I like the fake for the ult that you saw from Hayes. And that could have been a crucial kill that he could have had there against Rossi. Again, that's what I'm talking about. If you have that little gap going on because you want to focus on a spray towards mid instead that you want to defend, well, that little gap could be taken advantage of for the defender side. And Rossi definitely did. And thankfully, though, after he won that fight versus Hayes, he didn't have enough poison left, right, in the fuel, because that wall could have been detrimental for the rest of TSM moving towards the A site where they would have lost that round even faster, and TSM just missed a bit in terms of where Shot Up was playing at that generator side. This round, though, and it's going to be Rossi pushing all the way up. The Owl Drone missed him, so it's an easy execution. Now smokes have been lost, a perfect trade at least, and it's a 4-on-4 with JC Stunny low on HP. They're going to force to go back for a heal, and Sabrosa gets pinged out. So right after this heal, right after the commotion at the beginning of the round, we'll see the stalemate and back into a slow map control.
I'm curious how this fight over on Long is going to go. You've got JC Stanny still wanting to take that fight with Long, and there's one player there currently. Drone is lurking over on Long B. But it's gotten quiet. Things have slowed down after both teams suffer a casualty early in the round. Sabrosa sitting at the bottom of Tube, potentially about to take a fight with Gangsta, who's waiting at the top end of Tube. There's the shots coming through, and it's right on the money to the dome of Sabrosa.
30 seconds left.
Here comes Wardell with the op towards Long. There's the attempted getaway. It's a little uncomfortable and awkward as Drone was there, and there wasn't much that could be done. The ult coming through to try to cancel the spike plant, but
Stuck it.
bravely, Hayes sticks it knowing he has limited time and limited options. It'll come down to a 2-on-3. Wardell does have the ult available. The res is going to come out. There's the bait from it, though, and it works out masterfully. Drone has to go big. Does have some shock darts to work with, but it will be another round on the board for IMT, and an op is down if they were to decide to grab it, and they do.
Will. Yeah.
That's big. JC Stanley also has the knives available. So does Wardell. Rossi with the Viper's Pit. So there are ults online here for both teams.
It would have been such a different round on that 2 versus 2 potentially if Wardell actually connected a headshot onto Chemicals through that Radiantite box at that B site. Because of that, the perfect bait and switch, if not a res, would have never happened. It would have been Wardell and Drone with utility on a pulse plant to try to win that one. But good on Chemicals to take the advantage of the op shot miss, forcing Wardell back, going for the res, and then playing the numbers advantage by having JC Stanley come back to life and getting that round. And here is going to get very deadly. Where I see a weakness right now from this Viper Pit is if we actually go for some map control on the top of green, but they're going to hear an updraft, they're going to hear a wall, and he's going to be able to call that for a Phoenix to rotate out. But while that doesn't happen, then everybody could focus their resources towards this mid and A site. And at the same time, because there's a Viper's Pit here, and he doesn't need to use technically a Poison Cloud on B, then he's going to have a full fuel range to put the wall up on A side and make things difficult for TSM on a take.
Yeah, they've also got the Sage Wall down in Tube to try to slow down play in mid and kitchen. It basically forces them to go A right now. And you can see they're stacking up in that direction. You do have JC Stanny here with the op. The question is, what will happen in the battle against Wardell? We've seen it so many times. Go Wardell's direction. That will be a deciding factor, is how long can JC Stanny stay alive with that op in position, and will we finally see the kill go his direction? No.
Dinked.
He's taken down to 10 HP. He's so low on health, desperately looking for a heal, sitting at 10 HP. An awkward fight on site as Shot Up just dismisses directly in front of a target, and now goes for the ult. This is a bold play. You love to see it, but Drone's already top Tube, and it's come down to now just 2. As it's now just Rossi. The round will end in favor of